Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Showcase Series brought to you by Patranya Media LLC and Nevada Media Consultants. I'm your host, Patranya Poonswan. And on the show today, we have a very special guest with us. His name is Mark Cordner. He is the owner of Golden Years Financial and Golden Years Insurance Services. He's also a chartered retirement planning counselor, a very busy guy. So thank you so much, Mark, for coming on the show, making time to be here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Glad we can make it happen.
So great to see you. We have a lot to talk about today. We know you have run this successful business for many years. So first, it started, back in 1992, is that right? When you launched this business here in Nevada? But still young.
2 years full time.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, this business has been around. So talk to us about the beginning. Did it start off as something that you've always planned to do? Or was it something that has changed over time?
Well, I actually came to this field in a pretty indirect manner because I didn't know a whole lot about business. You know, my father was an Air Force chaplain, and we lived around the world. And so I knew the church and I knew the library, but I didn't know a whole lot about business. Yeah. When I was in college, I was doing door-to-door sales to support my wife and two sons. And the most positive people I found going door-to-door were these people in financial services. And it really threw me because I didn't know a thing about what they were doing. I had just been accepted to law school and was having misgivings about it. And I just felt in my heart like there was another way I could be of greater service. And as I kept meeting these people, I started asking questions. And over the course of a year, I decided that was the best way to go, was just to redirect into financial services, become a retirement planner. And so I've done that full time ever since. This isn't a part-time pursuit for me. I'm not working out of my basement or anything like that. But I love what I do. We are able to, in a sense, live vicariously through people. You know, they're at this third chapter of life, what should and what can and should be the most significant chapter of their life, and we're able to help make that a wonderful experience for them. We're also able to help pick up the pieces when things go sideways, and that's incredibly fulfilling. So it's been a great career, very satisfying personally, and as funny as it sounds, as a chartered retirement planning counselor, I don't really plan to retire. I want to stay engaged as long as I can in helping people like this. I'm not digging ditches, so as long as my brain's working, it's a great field.
And it's obviously clear that you love what you do, right? Because that's what you see in people. If they want to keep working, it means that they love what they do.
Yeah. Again, we get to live vicariously through people. I mean, so just this last week, we helped a gentleman buy his dream home back in Georgia. That was something he didn't think possible when we first met 6 months ago, and now he has a second home going into retirement. Things like that, we're able to live through them. People that travel, you know, again, I'm a military brat, so I have that wanderlust. Again, I'm able to live vicariously through them. So it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how this business has changed. Because obviously when you started this over 30 years ago, it's a little bit different on how people think about financial planning and retirement, right?
Well, the entire industry's changed, but certainly people's perceptions have changed. I mean, basically, you have two schools. You have a group of people that have come out of the securities business, out of the big wirehouses, who are primarily really wealth managers. They're just trying to get you a greater rate of return. And then we got people who have come into it from the insurance side who are more safety oriented. They're less concerned about the probability of great wealth as they are keeping you from becoming impoverished. And so it's about maintaining dignity. And fortunately, I've got experiences on both sides. And so we're able to take care of people's needs in that respect. And those two fields have really merged. But in terms of the clients, the biggest difference is the fact that people are living longer. You know, longevity is not something that most of us think about, but longevity, meaning the likelihood of living a long time, longevity is the great risk multiplier, meaning that there's a variety of risks we're going to face during our retirement years, and those are just multiplied the longer we live. So I'm talking about things like inflation and taxes and certainly healthcare. So there's a variety of things, market losses, you know, that volatility. There's things that we have to address, and retirement is really, in my opinion, more about risk management than anything. There are absolutely foreseeable potholes which we want to help people avoid. And then there's opportunities, of course, which we certainly want to help them be able to experience so they can, you know, we create a roadmap for people and help them experience their dreams.
Yeah. And, you know, you said your goal would just go AWOL, but you have tell me about what that means, because that is what makes you unique in terms of perceptive of how you help your clients, right?
Well, we have a threefold mission, but we talk about going AWOL, which kind of has a double meaning. For those
Yeah.
who have come out of the military world, they think of someone who irresponsibly just kind of disappears, as it were. And our twist on that is we want to help people get to a work optional lifestyle.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you want to work, great.
Like you, right?
Yes.
You'll probably keep working.
All good. But if you don't want to work,
Yeah.
or if you can't work because of healthcare reasons or changes in your industry, we still want you to be okay. And so we want to get people to that position where they are free. They have that financial freedom to do as they truly please. Yeah. And that's really our goal with going AWOL. But the threefold purpose of my firm is to first help people create income they can't outlive. Right. Second is to have that income be as tax advantaged as possible, preferably tax-free. Yeah. And I'm saying legally tax-free. There's ways to do that. And then protected from a variety of very real risks that most people aren't aware of. So, but yeah, we want to get you AWOL. So if you want to give a gesture to the man and run out the door one day, power to you.
Yeah. And, and I think this is what's really key about talking to people like you. It really helps people who are listening and watching this right now that, hey, the future is coming. A lot of people, hey, we're all taught just live in the present, but you have to plan for the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, how many of our lives have gone the way we expected? I can't speak for you, but mine certainly has not gone the way I expected. And that's the same for anyone else. I mean, we're all on the same ship, as it were. But it's fun when we're able to give people the confidence and the peace of mind that they need to make the commitments they want. For example, just a few days ago, I had an email exchange with a high school friend who came to one of our, it was coincidental. I mean, she didn't know I did this, and I hadn't seen her in 40 years, but she came to one of the public seminars that I do at the College of Southern Nevada. We do these 6-hour classes. And long story short, was able to show them how she can retire now at 58. And
was she surprised when you said
that?
that?
Yeah, absolutely surprised. She's decided she's going to work a couple more years.
Yeah.
But the beauty is to have that choice and to be able to have the confirmation, because none of us know what we don't know.
Right.
And when people can come visit with someone like me who's met with hundreds and hundreds of people over the last 30-odd years, then they're able to get some peace of mind, that outside confirmation. So that's a great thing, a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, so. And I think one of the biggest questions that, people like me, and I think most people ask, when should I start planning? Is it ever too young, too old? How do you answer that?
Well, it's kind of like asking when's the best time to plant a tree. Obviously 20 years ago would have been ideal,
right.
But the next best time is today.
Yeah.
So wherever you're at on the spectrum, now is the time to plan for the future. And the more we can focus on that, the better our future will be. The reality is many people are just doing the best they can, and they can't put away the kind of money they want. And so I'm often in a position where I'm showing them how to take confidence and how to move forward and build on the strengths and successes of starting small. And that's very rewarding for me, but certainly for them, because anything is better than nothing, obviously. But then the flip side is fun too, because we have the people who tend to come to my public seminars tend to be more serious about retirement anyway. And although they don't know it, they're typically far better prepared than the average American. And so I'm in this curious position of actually encouraging them to live up to their privileges, which sounds like a strange thing.
Yeah.
But,
explain that.
Well, they have the capacity to do more than they thought they could. One of the great challenges of people who have prepared well is they have lived under their income, as it were. They live more of a constrained lifestyle.
Right.
And so
in a way, they have been planning for it. Even they maybe not putting it out in words, but they have been planning for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to help them kind of open up and actually allow themselves to do the things that they want to do. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard for all of us. I'm going through this very weekend. I've been out looking at a trike, a toy that I'd like.
Yeah.
And I can afford it, but justifying it is a different thing. And sometimes you just need that outside confirmation that, yes, go do it. Start living now. If that's been your dream, as it has been for me, go do it. Go do that thing. You can afford to.
And that's the challenge, right? When in your role, because you're working with so many different types of people who have different visions, different goals, but also different kind of like their upbringing and thoughts about money. Right? Because a lot of people say, hey, I want to just make sure I have enough money. But the way that they think about money, they come from different places. So how do you deal with that in terms of working with different people and making them kind of, see what their potential and living up to that privilege, as you say?
Well, it's very respectfully because we have to be very sensitive. I mean, I've had people who have come in from very traumatic backgrounds and get very emotional while visiting with me because of the difficulties they've overcome in getting to where the point they're at now. But I really like what you said there, because we do all kind of bring our own baggage and coloring to how we look at this. I can think of someone very close to me who was raised in a situation where her family thought they were poor. They weren't, but because they thought they were, they behaved as if they were. And so, if there's food on the table, you eat it now, it may not come, kind of thing. And so that kind of mentality bleeds over into the financial world. If there's money in the account, spend it now, may not be there again. And so there's a lot of these issues that all of us bring into it. And a wonderful thing is seeing couples come together. This is one of the great challenges we all know that divorce is incredibly common in the world now, and financial reasons are most prominent. And a lot of it has to do with just coming together on these issues, taking our different perspectives and coming together. I find that incredibly satisfying. We do a lot of client events where we're bringing our clients together in fun settings like sweetheart dances, things like this. But it's partly to help them speak with other retirees, and that plus the ongoing classes we do are really designed to get couples talking. Because at the end of the day, when we're together, things are that much better. But it's hard. Most people are doing the best they can do. And sometimes it's not quite enough to be able to retire right when they wanted to. For others, they could have retired yesterday. And they just need an outside person to kind of help them with that. But certainly to protect against risk, because the practices that got many people to the wealth that they're in are not the practices that are going to help that wealth sustain. Because think about it, we know there's a certain time horizon, 30, 40 years that we're going to work, but how long are we going to be retired?
No idea.
We don't have any idea. It could be 20, 30, 40 years nowadays. Stanford University came out with a study that said half of the children born today will live to age 100.
Wow.
Think about that. Now, the stuff I'm reading is saying 120 and 140, but that's a whole other conversation.
And you want to stay well and healthy, right? And being taken. And that's why you said healthcare is a big part of that, because you want to make sure that people not just live to old age, but live a quality life as well.
Yeah, and so when we talk about Golden Years Financial, we're really not talking about quantity of life. We're talking about quality of life, with the recognition that 50% of retirees today, at age 65, if you're dealing with a married couple, there's a 50% chance that one of them is going to make it to age 95. Now, did they come into life thinking that? No. Most of us think we're exiting, in our 80s maybe. It could be much longer. So the challenge is, what do you do if you run out of money before you run out of time? And we're able to help people, again, create that income that they can't outlive, so that they may not get rich, but we're going to assure that they don't get poor. That's the key thing. We want them to have the dignity that they want and most desire. Do you know what the number one fear is for retirees?
What is it?
It's not dying too soon. It's actually running out of money and thereby becoming dependent on other people.
And you see that happens. You see it in your own families and friends. You've seen that happen. And that can be really tough. And, but I think starting that conversation can be hard, right? So how do you kind of get people together and say, hey, this is the time to talk about it now?
Well, the sooner the better. The primary way that we meet people is we do free educational programs, adult education, primarily at the College of Southern Nevada. And so friends will encourage friends to come in. So we got to get a lot of like-minded people in that manner. A lot of people who work with the same companies, frankly. And then we just encourage them to start having family meetings and discussions with their friends to open up about this taboo subject of money. I mean, most of us were raised, certainly in my religious culture, there's this, I don't know what it is, this odd view that not discussing finances is a virtue. I don't think it is. And
I think even in different backgrounds too. Like I come from Asian background, and that's kind of like you said. Maybe it's similar in that way. It's that it's not. You don't want to air those dirty laundries. If you have money issues or if you have worries about something, you keep that. But that's when you don't get the problem solved. Right?
And we don't learn. I mean, I really admire certain cultures. Certainly there's Asian cultures, and I think of the Jewish community, for example, where they teach their children at a younger age. I just have so much admiration for that, because they get a head start in life, because they're not starting in their 20s or early 30s to try to figure things out. But wherever you are in the game, we always say, wherever you're at, let's take you from there forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have to look back and just regret. We can always move forward. So wherever you're at, the time to start talking is now. Come visit with us sooner than later.
Yeah. And you're a father of three, right? Just want
I
to
am.
talk about your family for a little, because that's a
Sure.
big part of your life. And when people come to you, they bring their family in. I think we have a picture with, was it your daughter who got married just a few
yeah,
years
a couple
ago?
years ago, my
Right?
baby girl.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she, and a beautiful family that you have there. So how is that kind of, when you talk to your clients, how is that kind of bring that conversation, especially how did you talk to your kids about when it comes to planning and family and future? Is that different from when you talk to your clients?
No, I mean, I'll admit I'm not a whole lot better than most other people. I mean, we all bring challenges into this. I try to speak to my children about it. In many ways, they're not ready, but we just have to, again, take each other where we're at. I think it's critical, though, that we have family meetings. I'm a big advocate of our clients meeting with their children, letting the children, even if the children don't know exactly how much money the parents have, at least they know that certain things are in place. Like, for example, when that day comes when we all need help dressing, eating, bathing, toileting, all these things no one wants to talk about because of frailty or illness or accident.
Right.
Those kind of things need to be discussed. So the kids know, for example, that we've got plans in place. So if that day comes, here's where the money's at, here's where the care should be provided, here's how the care should be provided. So these kind of things need to be discussed early. So yeah, obviously when the children are young is best. I find we're all like this. Most of us are working for others. It's the people we love. That's who we're working for. And so we have to think differently. Like when we do tax planning for clients, we're thinking intergenerationally. Like if I have income to sustain me in retirement, is it taxable? Is it tax-free? And how, therefore, is it going to pass on to my children? These are big issues. I have children with health issues, one of whom will always be dependent upon us, will always live with my wife and me. Matter of fact, my wife and son live 400 miles north of me for medical reasons, as odd as that sounds. So every family has its challenges. We've all got something. But at the end of the day, it's usually the family that drives the planning.
Yeah.
What kind of experiences do we want as a family? What kind of experiences do we want for our children, for our grandchildren? How can we better facilitate those things? And so the more we talk, the better chance we have of actually realizing our dreams.
What about people who are in denial about a lot of things? I'm sure you run into those people who don't want to think about the future, or you see these challenges ahead of them, but they don't want to face it. What is some of the biggest advice that you can give people that you have to face some of these realities, whether it's be your family or yourself or, other aspects?
That's a hard one, and I'm not sure that I'm great at it. I think every financial advisor struggles with this to some degree, because the more we make people aware of things, you certainly don't want to scare them into activity. But some people will never quite get around to it. I mean, men, for example, generally speaking, have a very difficult time talking about long-term care, and yet 3 out of 4 of us are going to need it. Now, you'd never think of not insuring your home or not insuring your car, because those probabilities could be very financially painful if you had a fire or an accident. But if you have a healthcare problem in your later years and you need someone to provide hands-on care, helping you get out of bed, bathe, dress, eat, things like that, well, the average cost in Vegas right now is about $85,000 a year. That's per spouse.
Wow.
For most middle-income Americans, which is who I focus on working with, that can be financially devastating. And so we have to look at all forms of assets. Different types of income are taxed differently. Different kinds of income are more stable than others. And so retirement planning isn't so much about assets. It's not how much money you've accumulated. It's about income. What kind of income do we have? And so on this denial issue, sometimes we just fail, to be really candid with you, because there may often be a spouse within the couple that just can't come to grips with certain things. Sometimes they call us 3-4 years later, and it's wonderful to be able to help them then. But other times you've just got to give a big smile to the suffering spouse, knowing that she often is not going to have him on board, And that's not the kind of answer I want to give you, but it's the truth.
It's a reality,
right?
It
is. Yeah. Some people never quite get around to it. And there's no question in my mind, in the next 20 years, we're going to have absolute difficulty in this country because most Americans are not remotely prepared. There's things they can do, but most of them are in this kind of denial stage that it's not going to happen to me. It'll happen to 3 out of 4 Americans, and I'm the exception. So,
Yeah. And, again, we're talking right now to Mark Cordner, and you're the owner of Golden Years Financial, also Golden Years Insurance Services. You also work in terms of helping people with retirement planning. You've been doing this since 1992. I mean,
I'm old.
obviously, you've gotten a lot of success. You've worked in the community as well, which I want to bring up because that's a big part of growing this community and thriving in this community. I think we have a picture of you with, I think this is with Three Square. Is it one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
nonprofits that you work with, right?
Yeah, I used to do a lot more. I've kind of had to step back from a lot of my, for family reasons, because of the
Yeah.
medical situations. I've had to step back, but for about 15 years, I was very heavily involved in the special needs community, got involved with Three Square. This particular picture is bringing down some nonprofit leaders down there. I used to arrange tours down there. Brian Burden, the former CEO,
Yeah.
became a dear friend. Great organization. Matter of fact, we go down every year on the Friday before Thanksgiving. Our clients do, one of our monthly client events. They tend to be service oriented. We go down to Three Square actually Friday before Thanksgiving to let our clients, nice meal on me, that it's a
Yeah.
private tour, but it's an opportunity for them to become aware as well of service opportunities in the community. Three Square is incredible.
Yeah,
You know,
they've
just-
done great things.
Oh my heavens.
And
they're
that's not the
amazing.
only nonprofit that you work with. Talk to us about some other ones that you supported. You shared quite a few of them, right?
Oh yeah, Opportunity Village has been a big part of my life. Best Buddies is an organization that actually started in my office in terms of the
Wow.
Nevada operation.
Yeah.
When they entered Nevada, Jason Smith was the executive director. I gave space in my office to start that. I was the chairman of the board for the state of Nevada for about 8 years.
Yeah.
Became the most successful chapter in the country. Best Buddies is a wonderful organization as
Yeah.
well because it pairs what we would call neurotypical children with those who have developmental disabilities and creates friendships
Yeah.
so that they can navigate life together. And it's rewarding on both parts. This isn't
Yeah.
a charity effort towards
Yeah.
one side of the equation, as some people think. Both sides of that friendship benefit in immeasurable ways. And we did a lot in terms of community employment for people with disabilities. SANS organization and others were wonderful to start working with. We found that employing people with disabilities not only increased the bottom line for corporations, but it absolutely changes the culture for the better because the guests to those resorts or businesses slow down and people just tend to be more human again. Which at the end of the day, life isn't about money, right? Life should be about those interactions and relationships we have. So I was very blessed to be able to be as involved as I was. Again, I've had to slow back a bit because of the season of life that I'm in now with my family. But I have a dear place in my heart for many of the nonprofits here in town.
And talk to us about that because part of the show, when we talk to different entrepreneurs and business owners, even nonprofit leaders, talking about that importance of being part of your community and stepping in to help organizations like this. What advice would you give to other people, maybe who've not come as far as you in your business, but starting out, that importance of getting out there and being a part of your community in that way?
Well, I'd say start wherever you're at. I've never looked at my community service as being a way to generate business. Candidly, it really hasn't. I just try not to mix the two things.
Yeah.
But it's very fulfilling on a personal note.
Right.
And again, it ties into the community. It's those feelings of togetherness that we need to have in the community. I would say choose a charity that's important to you. There's 4 that we support, and I let our clients know, as well as my employees, of course, know these are the organizations that we're supporting, so they can buy into the mission. So Three Square, we've mentioned, is one. We've introduced our clients down there, and some of them now are regularly volunteering. We work with Charity Vision. We work with Catholic charities, Meals on Wheels, because that's helping those retirees, those seniors who don't have the money for meals.
Yeah.
It provides a check-in service for them. And there's another one that I'm drawing.
You do so much.
There's a number that are just dear to us, and it's good for the clients. It's good for us. It's good for the community. Again, life's not about money. It should be about these experiences. And back to the retirement planning thing, the biggest challenge for most retirees is not having a sense of purpose. They spend, 20, 30, 40 years working in the community in a very structured environment, and then they quit working, feels like vacation for the first few weeks, but after that, it becomes very, very traumatizing for some, particularly men, because they've lost their structure. And that's one of the other reasons we try to encourage our clients to get involved in these organizations, whichever ones they choose, of course. But that's where the satisfaction comes in life. It's from relating with other people.
You know, with just a few minutes left in the show here, just want to make you, get you to share, people want to reach out to you and work with you. What's the first thing that they should do before they even pick up the phone and call you? And we have the phone number right there on the screen for people who can get a hold of you, and QR code as well, making it easy. But what are some of the things they should kind of get together before they even reach out to you?
Well, I would say check us out online and go to GY Financial. It stands for Golden Years Financial, gyfinancial.com, and you can learn a little bit about my organization and the team members that are involved. I think most importantly, you can become aware of the educational events we do, because we do events on a regular basis.
And these seminars that you do, right?
Yeah, they're at no cost for the public.
That's great.
The flagship one we do is literally a 6-hour class. It's taught in 2-3-hour sessions. So we know that people coming to that are serious about wanting to learn how to prepare for the future. And that's a wonderful experience. So I would say that would be the first thing to do, is check out these educational resources. I'm a big believer in reading and sharing books. And so, reach out to us on the topics that interest you. We do a complimentary consultation so people can come in and we just put things up on the whiteboard and let them see, here's where your strengths are, here's where the weaknesses, some challenges are we may want to look into, and here's some opportunities to really improve. And so literally in that first 1-hour consultation, we're able to lay out a tentative roadmap and help people get clarity. They always leave very grateful, but also relieved, because they have a sense of, okay, here's things I can control. Here's what I can do to
and
make
that peace
my
of
own
mind
future
is
better.
what you really want to put out there for people
At
as
the
soon
end of
as
the
they
day.
walk in the door and out the door, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we're able to give them confidence with that. So even if you don't have all the solutions yet, you can't immediately solve your problems. Just knowing what the problems are. A future problem is a present problem, right? So becoming aware of it now gives us the opportunity to start correcting and making the changes we need to. And again, so I'd say engage with us.
And anybody can come to you, right? Any age that they can bring in, and that you can find a plan that works for them.
We typically work with people who are between the age of 50 and 70. Our goal generally is to work with middle-income Americans. So I'm not looking for the super wealthy, people with over 2 or 3 million.
Most people are out there, right? Can work with you.
It's the regular people who typically have under $1 million. We often work with their children, but where we are best able to serve is really that cohort between the age of 50 and 70 that are transitioning into and through retirement. That's where our specialization is.
I love it. And Mark Cordner, again, his information is right up there on the screen if you want to get a hold of him. Golden Years Financial has been around since 1992. So this guy obviously knows what he's doing. But you know what really stuck with me is the fact that you said, life it's not about money, but it's about relationships and things and the experiences that but having that peace of mind is key. And that's what you bring to your clients as well.
Hopefully that's our goal.
Yeah. No, and thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom, expertise, and giving us this information. Again, what is your website so people can go to you?
It's gyfinancial.com. That's G as in golden, Y as in years, financial.com.
Awesome. And Mark Cordner. And he said he's not retiring anytime soon. So you can go and find Mark Cordner, work with his team, and just get some great information. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching this episode of Entrepreneur Showcase Series. We'll see you again next time.